The Rogue S-35E sled is, in my opinion, the perfect entry-level sled. The $125 price tag may seem a bit high, but as I'll go over in this review, it is so incredibly well made, and this is an item that you're going to buy for life. Listen, I'm going to spoil the review right now. If you don't care about pushing the sled and only care about pulling it, there is no better option right now, especially at the price point, than the S-35E sled, and you should just go out and invest in it right now. But if you're like me, you may need some convincing first before you go out and spend money. So in this review, I'm going to go over the pros, some of the cons, and help you decide if the E-sled is right for you. But first, okay, before we start off, as a disclaimer, I am not going to be talking about the overall benefits of sleds. I'm not going to be talking about workouts with sleds. You've probably already done all that research. That's why you're here on a review video. You're looking to buy a sled. So this review will primarily cover the Rogue S-35E sled. E-sled is what they refer to it on their website. So this review will cover the E-sled. Now, as far as Rogue equipment goes, I always look on their website and I'm amazed at how high priced everything is. However, I've never received an item from Rogue and opened it and thought that the item was worth anything less than the dollar amount that I paid for it. Now, as far as Rogue products go, or sleds in particular, I actually think their sleds are pretty well priced for what you're getting. I wasn't too shocked at the sticker value of the E-sled, I said $125. They have some $200, $300, $400 models that at first it seems like the price is kind of high, but when you look at what you're getting compared to other items on the market, I think it's actually pretty competitively priced, so do with that information what you will. Now, I think this serves as a nice segue into the first topic I want to cover, which is build quality. I knew it was made of steel, but right out of the box, I was surprised at the weight and the density of, of the actual sled. This is an item that you will need to try to damage. I couldn't imagine bending this steel unless I was really trying to damage it, maybe taking a weight plate and just smashing into the damn thing. But as far as the frame itself goes, the base sled, this thing's gonna take a beating for sure. Speaking of the steel, a very nice touch are these bent edges right here that the weights rest on. I like having this bent steel. It avoids having a flat piece of steel that they had to weld, so less parts overall. And not only does it look slick, but it also protects those weights. I think it looks really good, and I'm happy they went with bent steel on the E-sled. If you do notice here on some of the edges, that coating is peeling off where the plates are rubbing against it, but that's gonna happen. The coating on the steel, it's rubbing off a little bit, but when you have steel plates on a steel frame, you're gonna get some friction, so that's just general wear and tear. Now, something you'll notice about my sled is that there appears to be a bit of buildup of rust. This is because I've been a bad boy. I've used this, I've gotten done with it, I've left it outside. I'm in Florida, the humidity is unbelievable, so anything with exposed metal outside, it's going to get some rust. I should really do a better job of taking care of my equipment, oiling it down after I use it if I'm going to keep it outside, or bringing it inside. So that's on me. The little bit of rust you do see is 100% negligence on my side. But if you are in a humid environment such as Florida, you're just going to want to make sure that when your items are stored in an unair-conditioned garage or out on your porch, take care of it. Now, if we flip it over and look at the bottom of the sled, you will notice mine, it's in pretty good shape. It's got some scratches here, some exposed metal from where I ran over a few rocks. This item is designed to be used on any surface, concrete, asphalt, dirt, whatever, but if you use it on those surfaces, you will see a noticeable scratching. As I mentioned, mine is primarily used on grass. So if you're someone that's going to use it on the concrete, just be aware that you're going to have some scratching. It would be nice if Rogue included some plastic rails to put on the bottom of this so that you don't damage the equipment or annoy the shit out of your neighbors when you're pulling this down the road. But yeah, just a note on that one. Again, I'm going back to this 1/4 inch steel. You're not going to eat through a 1/4 inch of steel with your daily use pulling this out on the asphalt, so that should hold up just fine. Now the next item is this folding post. If you do notice, you'll definitely hear it. It's got some side-to-side play. When there's a plate on it, this is definitely way less than when it's just sitting here on a table moving around. I have not noticed any damage to this post from the little bit of wiggle room, so that's held up very nicely. Not much to say about that other than, yeah, doesn't appear to be any damage from my heavy use. Next, if we look at the bracket where the post is attached to the actual sled, you'll notice that there are 3 welds here. Those welds, they look decent. Not really concerned about them breaking or damaging in any way. This bracket, it appears to be, as well as the base frame, it's a 1/4 inch steel, so yeah, this isn't going to be a point of failure either. Very well made. Finally, I'd like to draw your attention to the Rogue logo here. This logo, it's really cool. They could have just done a recessed cutout, slapped a coat of paint, or just left it, and it would have been fine. But they actually machined through the entire side of this steel frame, and it looks slick. This doesn't appear to sacrifice the frame durability. Again, 1/4 inch steel, it's going to take a lot of beating up to bend this. So the fact that they decided to actually machine out the logo, it adds a real nice touch, and I think it looks really cool. Now, as far as features go, it's a sled. It doesn't have many features, but as I went over, the one major feature is that folding post. This is awesome for when I get done with my workouts. Put the post down. I store it on my back patio. I put it in the corner, out of sight, out of mind. That's very nice. I have seen other sleds that the post actually screws down into it. Don't like that. I don't like having a separate part that you can lose. Those threads get stripped a lot, so I like having a post that is attached to the sled and has that ability to fold down. That's really nice. Now, another feature you could say is the incredibly small size of the sled. If you want to take this to the park, if you want to take this to someone else's house to do a workout, it's really small. Like I said, it's 26 pounds, so it's not super heavy, but you can slide that in the back of your trunk, in the back seat, no issue at all. But with a reduced size comes with sometimes a reduction in stability, and I have to say that as far as my uses for the sled, it has been surprisingly stable. For me, using it with 3 to 4 plates in my backyard, on my grass, on a bit of a non-stable surface, I would say that the sled is very stable. Pulling it, turning it, even when my daughter, she's almost 4 years old, she likes to sit on the back and hold on to it. I'll pull her back and forth across the backyard, and very minimal wobbling. So as far as my use, again, 3 to 4 plates, it's been very stable. If you were going to put the max amount of 11 full-size steel plates on this thing, I would make sure it would be in a gym scenario, maybe on AstroTurf or on concrete, because that starts to get a lot of weight on there. So if you're really planning on loading the sled up, just make sure you're on a stable surface. But if you're going 2, 3, 4, even 5 plates, I would not worry about pulling this on grass or any other surface. As far as accessories go, the sled comes with a clip and 16-foot Rogue straps. The included Rogue straps do have these loops on the end. I use these to hold it and pull the sled, or loop it around my shoulder and pull it that way. That's nice, but I actually have an old broken weight belt laying around, so what I'll do is I'll loop the straps through the belt, attach it to the carabiner, and pull the sled that way. The sled does not include a chest strap or a belt, so those are items you're going to have to buy separately. While you can get away with not having these items, I use the sled about 95% of the time with my belt, so you're really going to want to invest in either Rogue's version, or if you can find a cheap version, just something that has, it's a bit thicker, has a bit of padding that you can put around your waist and pull it with. Like I said, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. This is an old broken piece of equipment that I was about to throw out, and saw that it had these clips on the end, so figured, you know, why not? And it served me well so far. So I would highly recommend upgrading, getting a chest strap, getting a belt. There are a few options you can find on Amazon for under $100, but aside from a few outliers, which I will cover, you should stay away from those. You can find something at your local hardware store that you can cobble together for probably half the price and will most likely last a lot longer. As an example, let's look at this listing on Amazon. This one comes in at 75 bucks, not bad price. The reviews actually look really good as well. Diving right in, what jumps out right away is how the strap is actually attached to the sled. This little loop, it's a separate part. You're gonna have to bolt that in. There's gonna be a lot of force and tension on this part, so that's gonna wiggle, that's gonna move around a bit. Something else I noticed right away is the end caps on the two legs and then the post. I can tell you right now, having equipment that has had these items, this is gonna pop off right away. You're gonna lose this. This is not staying on, I can tell you that right now. Next thing that I notice is that this base, it's not part of the construction of the actual frame. This is a separate piece that it's probably welded on, so this is a separate piece altogether. What that shows me is that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 separate components that go into the design of this sled. So there are 6 separate, technically separate parts in the construction, as opposed to the E-Sled, which has much fewer and they are much sturdier. Going down to the reviews, people say it's good quality, exceeds expectations. However, I do like looking at some of the pictures. You can pull a tire, that's actually pretty cool. Now here's a negative one. It has a few pictures. Okay, as I pointed out, this end cap, that's gonna pop off. There's no doubt about that. Just looking at the design, yeah, that's not staying on. Okay, it looks like the paint's chipping a bit. Yeah, it's just paint. The base is just painted, a very light coat of paint, so that's gonna chip pretty quickly. Oh, and yeah, as I mentioned earlier in the review, whenever you have threads like this, that it looks like there's metal, it looks like it's being stripped. This is not good. As someone from Florida, I see this. I think this is either going to rust while it's inside of the equipment or outside the equipment, so it's either going to be hard to attach or hard to get off. So right here, it's either going to get stripped or it's going to rust. Not a big fan of this design. Okay, just more examples of the chipping going on. This looks like it hasn't even been used yet, and it's chipping pretty quickly. So yeah, the paint, not great on it. Overall, it looks like the reviews are good. It is meeting some people's expectations, so you wouldn't be bad off with this sled. However, for $50 more, you can get the Rogue E-Sled, which in my personal opinion is going to last 10 times longer than this sled. Really, it's an investment on your part. Now, in my opinion, if you wanted to go for a top-of-the-line Rogue sled, I would go for the Rogue Dog Sled 1.2. This sled looks pretty incredible. As you just noticed from the pictures, it's got the posts that you can push the sled on that can be moved from either side. It also has 2 mounting points for the carabiner, so that, like I mentioned, you can pull the sled, unhook it, go around to the other side, and then pull it in the opposite direction. So that's some really cool features this sled has. Also, it looks extremely heavy duty. This thing's not going to tip over. It's way over the width of your standard steel plate. So this looks like an awesome piece of equipment. You can even turn it into a freaking wheelbarrow. That's pretty cool as well. So you are looking at a $325 sled. That's the base sled, however. The low bar attachment, high bar attachment, all of these attachments, the lawn boy attachments, geez Louise, look at all these additions. So for this particular sled, while it is really cool, just the base sled's gonna run you $325, and then for all those options, it's looking pretty expensive. So if you're someone that requires the use of an item like this, it's gonna be a daily use, perhaps even for a sports team, it is an excellent option. However, if you are a general user, like I am, the Rogue E-Sled for a fraction of the price after all things considered, that's a really hard value to pass up right there. Honestly, I'm sitting here trying to think of an option for under $125 that I could recommend, but I'm really struggling to come up with one. For most users, that $80 example we looked up on Amazon will probably serve their needs perfectly. They'll use it for, you know, once or twice a week for a few months, and then it'll sit in the garage, collect dust, and it'll rust out, and you'll throw it away if it doesn't break first. That's most users. For serious users, you're gonna want to get something that's gonna last a long time, and I believe the Rogue E-Sled is gonna be a lifetime item. It's so incredibly durable. Now, an option that I like that's around the price of the Rogue E-Sled is an item by Freak Athletics. They have a sled that it appears to be based on the E-Sled, and the price tag for the base sled comes in at a little over the E-Sled, but this is a cool sled because it has a bunch of upgradable options. It has a bunch of Y posts that you can use to add mounts that you can push the sled. It's also got a really cool feature of plastic rails, so you can go out, pull it on the concrete in front of your house and not damage the sled or the road. Again, these are some premium upgrades that if you fully upgrade this sled, you're looking at a pretty premium price, but the good news is you can buy that base sled, and if you decide a few months down the road that you want those options, you can just go ahead and pick those up. As far as negatives go, I don't really have many negatives. One possible negative, as you can see here, the clip attaches to one side. The other side, there is no place to mount the clip or pull the sled. Of course, this is to reduce the length so that this pole can close down. I would almost be happy if they extended the sled a little bit and had a second lip that you could attach a clip to. That way I can pull the sled, take the clip off, attach the other side, and then pull it back where I came from. What I have to do now is I pull it to the edge of my yard. I have to shimmy it around, which is not that big a deal, and then I pull it the other way, so it kind of eats my grass up a bit, but that's a me problem. So it would be cool to see if they had another mounting point, but I do get why they did that. They wanted to reduce the length a little bit so that this post could fold all the way, and it wouldn't be this very long snowboard looking item. Now, I'm getting real nitpicky here, but another negative would be a way to secure this folding pole to the base. When you're going to store it, when you're going to pick it up, when you tilt it on its side, if this thing has any sort of momentum, it's going to want to fly forward. Oh god. Not good. Oh fuck, I didn't break the mouse. We're good. Honestly, you could probably just find a pretty thick rubber band and put it around the sled to secure this in place. That'll probably do the trick, but you know, you could see not having that included be a negative. But again, I'm getting real nitpicky here. I really like this sled, and I'm trying to find something wrong with it. The last negative, and it's only a negative if you buy this for the wrong use, but if you're someone that's looking to pull or push a ton of weight, if you're a linebacker and you're expecting to load a sled up with 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 plates every time, you may see a reduction in stability. You're going to want to go with a bigger sled. Again, if you're someone that's that size, if you're someone that's pushing around that much weight, you're probably going to want to invest in a more heavy-duty sled. This, for me, using 3 to 4 plates on it, has absolutely exceeded my expectations. I use it almost every day, so if you're a user like me who's going to put a small amount of plates on there, it'll do the job perfectly. In summary, as I mentioned, the Rogue S-35E sled is the perfect entry-level sled on the market. I know not everyone can afford $125, but if you're serious about your sled training, there is really no better piece of equipment to buy than the Rogue S-35E sled. Additionally, resale value on Rogue equipment is especially high, so it's a very low risk investment. You can use it. If you don't like it, I'm sure you can sell it to a buddy, sell it on Marketplace, and get most, if not all, your money back. With that, I'm going to end my review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope I helped you decide if the Rogue E-Sled is right for you. And I can't wait to see a bunch of you out there pulling around sleds, bulletproofing your bodies. It's really helped me in my running and in my general athleticism. So I really hope that I see more people out there pulling sleds. Thank you very much for watching, and I can't wait to see you do something amazing.